Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to get underway. If everyone can find their seats and remember to enjoy the show. Thank you.
Well, hey there, guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
How you doing?
Welcome to Coming of Age. This is a movie review podcast.
And discussion and jokes. It's about all of it.
It's got some comedy. It's got some culture.
It's got some art.
A little bit.
A little bit of improv. A lot of awkward.
A little bit of scripted this episode.
Yeah. We're trying something new. We're going to introduce you to some new things, a new format kind of. So just bear with us. We're still trying to iron out some kinks. Mm-hmm. And let us know what you think.
Yeah.
When you hear it.
Comment below and subscribe. You are joined by Chase Cummins.
Oh, thank you.
One of your hosts.
And Alan Loosebrock, your other host.
Thank you very
Beautiful
much.
Host.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so we usually start off the podcast by talking about things that we have watched within the past week or so. And we're going to do that today. Most of the things we've watched have been together. So we're actually going to, next week, we're going to start implementing a point system.
Yes.
Not sure what we're going to call it. We're going to come up with some super awesome, clever name.
It's going to be clever. You're going to love it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And so it's going to be a weekly competition in between me and Chase on who watched what and how many points we were awarded for watching that content.
Yeah, and so each thing that we can watch is going to be awarded a certain amount of points based on its genre or its length or the streaming platform it's on or whether it's a movie or a show. And we're coming up with a whole system. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
And
negative points if you watch anything with Michael Sheen.
Not Michael Sheen.
Oh,
Charlie Sheen.
I meant to say Michael Bay and
Michael
Charlie
Bay.
Sheen mixed together.
Yeah. Because when you mix them together, you get a pretty phenomenal English actor. Anyways, we're going to probably post that list up soon. Maybe before you hear the episode where we've implemented it, maybe not. But then you guys can play along with us. That's the goal eventually. Anyways.
Yeah, you can beat us. You're definitely going to beat me, I think, every week.
You'll get ahead sometimes.
I'm going to have to take this seriously to beat you at all.
You just got to stop falling asleep.
Falling asleep is a huge one. And we're actually going to talk about that right now as well, because we watched Mom and Dad.
Yes, I did.
You watched Mom and Dad. I watched half of it.
You watched most of it.
I watched most of it.
You watched most of it.
But I checked the fuck out. I didn't mean to. I don't know. I don't know what it is. What happens to my body? It just shuts off. I can't do it. It's for the last,
To be fair, we were intoxicated.
I think it's what it is.
I think it's the intoxication in the late hours.
The late hours and the booze.
That definitely will put you under.
I think it's just the booze, honestly.
Yeah, you tend to stay awake if we're sober. You're somewhat bored sometimes, but so am I if we're sober.
I just need it. Just kidding.
I need it. I'm not an alcoholic. I need it.
I'm not an alcoholic. I just need it.
I can't get through my day without it. I read this week that heavy drinkers know when the liquor store closes, but alcoholics know when the liquor store opens.
Ooh. Hey, that's true. I can see that.
Yeah.
Because I totally know when it
I know
closes.
Both, so...
I know both.
But it's I would have numbers go together, and I memorized them. I'm never there at the open.
They're both the same. It's 12-hour shifts.
It's 12 to 12, guys. They're open 12 to 12. It's easy.
Get it to your skill.
Get to your 6 code, okay? 12 to 12.
That's solid working hours. But anyway, Mom and Dad, if you've not heard of it, is a Nicolas Cage movie.
It's Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair.
Yeah. I don't know anything else like really like
I don't know who directed it,
directing wise or production or anything like that. Like,
I will say it's well shot, but strangely shot. There's some weird editing choices.
There's some weird editing choices, but they're not necessarily bad. They kind of get you more engaged, honestly. When I saw them, I'm not saying that they're like great choices. I'm just saying when I saw them, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
And I was like alert.
They're better than just like a lesser director or a lesser editor, I guess. I don't know who made those decisions, would have just not done anything special there. And even though what they did was kind of stupid, it was still kept it got me like, oh,
It perk you up, perk you up a little bit.
Yeah, you perked up a little bit. You're like, what the fuck? What am I watching?
Yeah, but that's like what you want from any Nicolas Cage movie. You want that feeling. If you don't have that feeling, then I don't know what movie you're watching.
You're either watching one of the worst unwatchable Nicolas Cage movies, or you're watching like Adaptation.
Yeah, which is
amazing.
Solid, good movie.
Yeah. You're either watching like top tier or literally like bottom of the trash barrel Nicolas Cage movies.
I don't even know what the bottom of Nicolas Cage movies would be.
Drive Angry is pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, we talked.
We've tried to watch that.
Yeah, that's really bad. But that's still like schlocky, weird, like Nicolas Cage.
It's still going for like that schlockiness.
Yeah,
and I've never finished that movie. I think it probably gets ridiculous.
Turn it the fuck off. But like, what's that like fucking wizard movie he made as well? Where he's like
Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch. Yeah, never watched that.
I've not watched. I've listened to other podcasts talk about that.
Oh yeah.
How Did This Get Made? I think did an episode on it, and apparently, from what they said, it's not really even worth the time.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I think like when I think of bottom of the barrel Nicolas Cage, I think of Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't seen it, I just think like, why the fuck would I watch that movie?
Yeah. What value does this piece of shit have? Now, I do want to see Moonstruck sometime. We might have to do that for a podcast episode.
Moonstruck, what is that?
It's Cher in Nicolas Cage. 80s
yes,
movie,
yes.
Highly acclaimed. And I think Cher won an Oscar for it. And it was like nominated Best Picture, I think. I mean, just a ton of accolades. It's generally well regarded. So 80s Nicolas Cage, it's like Raising Arizona era.
Yeah, I would absolutely. What? That's awesome.
That. Yeah. It's like a romantic comedy, but it's like dark.
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Definitely we'll check that one out.
All right, cool.
What else did we watch this week? So normally we're going to go back and forth. And when we implement this system, it's going to be the winner gets to talk about whatever fucking movie or show that they want to talk about. They get to start this conversation. But this week is a weird week since most of the entertainment that either of us watched was actually together.
Yeah.
So we don't really have any kind of like back and forth on this one. We can just kind of tell you about what we watched.
yeah, just normal business as usual. But I don't know. I don't like. What else do we watch? I feel like we watch just like.
Oh man. Like I honestly can't remember everything.
I feel like there was another thing, but we just watched like simple fucking bullshit.
We watched like YouTube shit. We watched a lot of YouTube videos. I don't think that counts.
We watched the Christopher Robin trailer.
Oh yeah.
By the time this podcast comes out,
this movie might be out.
Maybe who fucking knows? Who knows? I have no idea when this is going to come out, honestly. But if you have not seen the Christopher Robin trailer, the first one, maybe there's going to be another trailer by the time this is released. Jesus Christ, you need to watch that trailer.
Yeah.
With Ewan McGregor.
That's it.
Ewan McGregor. And a little scary fucking horrific Pooh Bear.
Yeah. A Pooh Bear from my nightmares.
And what to do.
Oh, I know. What to do indeed.
Pooh? I love Ewan McGregor going Pooh.
I just love it's like whimsical the way the dialogue flows together. What to do, what to do, what to do. What to do indeed. Pooh?
And it's like they meant to do that, obviously. But like the way it's executed and the way like our culture and like comedy has changed and everything in the world is just like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like just like I don't know. It's so, if you're into like acid culture at all, you look at that and you're just
any
like,
kind of anti-comedy and Tim and Eric shit. Like you're gonna watch that and be like, that is hysterical.
yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
This is a nightmare. I hope the whole movie's actually like this.
that would be crazy.
And
like
it becomes
scary poo,
and
like,
it becomes
Christopher
like
Robin's
an actual. That would be
fucking awesome. Yeah,
That'd be great.
it's not gonna be that.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be like that. But
really
I just mean
scary
like
animation.
mistakenly, like, you know,
Yeah.
just horrible, and I don't know. It's very strange.
Nightmare fuel. It's nightmare. It's uncanny as fuck.
So the movie no one asked for.
Yeah, no one. I never saw anything.
Just like librarians.
Yeah. No one asked for them. No one wants those librarians.
But it's Ewan McGregor. You know, people are going to go see it 'cause he's a charming man.
He's a great actor.
He's a great actor,
Fargo
and-
season 3, he made that season so fun to watch.
I was just talking to our friend David about Fargo season 3 because he didn't finish it, because I told him, you know, it kind of, if you haven't watched it,
It's definitely worth watching.
you know, watch it, but the end, it doesn't pan out as great as the other seasons, and it's just not really wrapped up tightly or anything.
I can see what it was trying to do, and it
I can't.
almost did it. No, I can tell what it was trying to do. It almost did it, but didn't do it.
It's literally, okay, we were talking about how it's literally just really nice. Like it just looks like it's going to be awesome. Like it looks so good, and the actors are so good at acting,
Yeah.
but the actual subject is just like, it's
interesting until you realize what's going on. And then
it's
you're like,
not great. It's literally just like things happening, and they don't all connect. It's just like Fargo needs to have the connection.
Yeah, it's
And-
Fargo's whole thing, at least for why season 1 and season 2 work so well in my mind, is because the fate is almost like a character, and so all of these characters, are ill-fated or not, are all connected in some way based on the decisions certain characters make.
Yes.
And there's an impact in the world, and whether or not a character realizes another character's impacted their life, it's, as a viewer, you get the kind of the breadth of the scope of like how wide this web is, and that web being fate, and it's like central to the theme.
Yeah.
And-
And there is some of that. There is like some of it that's
trying to do that.
very, very well done. I'd say that my favorite part of the whole series was the two brothers
Yeah.
in
Ewan
the
McGregor.
in the house of, I don't even know, the longer haired bald one. I don't even remember his name from it.
Eunice or something.
Yeah, something like that. And they're fighting over the stamp, and then the glass breaks on Eunice's head,
Oh yeah, and
and
it stabs him in the neck. The
the
glass shard
glass
stabs
is
him in
like
the neck.
like that is so good for reasons that you would know if you watch the show.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter. We can talk about it now.
Yeah.
But
Well, there's like a weird Cain and Abel theme going on there, and then it's like the good son accidentally kills the bad son. They like flip it on its head, and it's like purely by accident. It's not on purpose. And so the idea of like accidental like fate, really, just like coincidences and consequences for decisions, like that's like basically the whole theme of the whole show. But my favorite scene in season 3 is favorite episode really is the one where they're doing the when Carrie Coon goes to LA and she's reading her stepfather's like book, and she's like trying to figure out what happened to him and like who he was and stuff, and they keep cutting to those like Don Hertzfeld style animations. I thought that was like probably the most tightly written episode of the whole that whole season.
it was very interesting, for sure.
And that really drove home too, like like there you're seeing the flashbacks of like her stepfather and the decisions he made as he was growing up that led him to where he was when he got killed, and like why his name was changed and all this stuff, and like which is all part of like his fate, his outcome. It's like it's all so tightly woven in together. Ooh, sorry about that bump, guys. It was all tightly woven in together with like at that point with what the plot of the show is, that of that season, that it just felt, I was like, at that point I was like, this is going to be the best season of Fargo yet.
Yeah, for sure. It did feel like that a lot in the first, like...
4 episodes or
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. It was strange, though. You get, like... I don't know if I was just, like, too out of it or what, but, like... Ewan McGregor's accent, his, like, normal accent was coming through hard in some of the episodes.
And especially the later ones.
The later ones, it's like they were like he just like kind of stopped trying.
The Midwest, and it's like, oh, that guy's English.
It was like he was like doing like Irish or Scottish or some shit. Like,
well, the Midwest accent is super similar to an Irish accent. If you listen to, like, if you go to Canada, northern Canada, the which is an extension of that Midwest accent, and then you put it next to an Irish accent, it's almost like it's.
I'm just saying, I've been around a lot of people from Minnesota.
I know, but I'm saying the etymology of the accent is influenced by Irish.
And his accent didn't sound like that at the beginning of the show. And then it got much more rolly, and like it was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't know. Love the show.
Yeah, I am excited.
I don't think there's gonna be another season. If there is, I'm totally excited. But
he said he had another idea. Recently, they said that he just Noah Hawley just announced that. I'm pretty sure, I'll have to double check. Yeah, but he just announced like a week or two ago that he has an idea for season 4 and that he wants to move forward on the writing process. And I think FX is pretty much okay with renewing it for one more season.
I'm sure they are, honestly.
I mean, it's been a super successful show.
It'd be great if season 3 was just a fluke. Okay, there's a podcast that talks about like Fargo and like episode to episode. It's called Odd G's. And I was listening to it while it was only for season 3, I'm pretty sure. Maybe they did it for season 2 as well. But it seemed like it had just started, because I couldn't find any like earlier seasons or episodes or anything, just from when season 3 started. And I was listening to it. It's super interesting, gives you some insight, and they have like some people like from the show actually on it and stuff. Like some people who's like they had like the person who like made all the music for it and stuff, and it's super interesting. And after the last episode came out, the show, like they're like, okay, well, we'll see you next week for the last episode finale, like talk about it. And that episode never came out. The finale episode of the podcast never came out.
Really?
Yeah. Which makes me think that they didn't like it and literally just like, we're not going to talk about this. Because the end is so like not
up until
satisfactory.
That last episode, you're like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Yeah.
And like I was literally like, damn. They didn't even
follow through.
They didn't even make a last one. They made this whole show, like had people from the show on it, like did a really good job, and then just like
dropped along.
They're just like one. They're just like, no.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah. It's totally crazy, because I really wanted to hear, after watching it, I was like, I want to hear what they have to say about this. And it's crazy that happened.
They just quit. They're like, I don't want to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Honestly, the last scene I kind of enjoyed. I thought it was a weird moment to cut away, but I get it, like why they did that. But that whole episode had so many it was rife with issues. Mm-hmm. There's plot holes.
Well, I just remember when like the second to last episode aired and finished, and I just remember being like, I don't know how they can wrap all of this.
Well, they brought in like, it got magical realist as fuck in the middle, and they go to that bowling alley, and Ray Wise is like God, and he keeps showing up to different characters, and then that Russian guy's like in the bowling alley, and which is a huge reference to the Big Lebowski and stuff.
Yeah, it's like turning into Lynchian stuff. Like
it's like they brought in a Lynchian like character, like he's part of the Lynch troupe.
Yeah, he literally is.
And then they bring him onto the show, and then he's playing this Lynchian-esque godlike character who they pretty much insinuate by his last cameo that he is fucking God, or omniscient in any ways. And then there's like this weird Tarkovsky reference with the Russian guy, and then it cuts to like his whole, it's like he's in the bowling alley, and it cuts to like his whole hometown, and this woman that he's like it's implied that he's like brutally killed and abandoned and done all this stuff, and like his whole hometown, it's all black and white, and they're just staring right at the camera, and it's like confronting him. And I know, it was beautifully done. I was like, it gave me chills at the end of that episode. I was like, where the fuck is this show going?
Yeah, exactly.
Really excited me. And then
if nothing else, you watch Fargo season 3 for the feels.
Yeah, it definitely will get you some good feels. You'll be a little disappointed at the end, but it'll get you some good
but
feels.
as long as you
That's
know
moments.
that, you know, you can just go in knowing that you'll probably be all right.
Yeah,
but
it has its moments.
Maybe you won't do that.
Then that whole thing with Ray Wise meeting, what's her name? The girl from... The main girl who's dating Ewan McGregor, who's in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah. I don't know her name, but yes.
I'm completely spacing on her name. She's in the remake of The Thing, the reboot of The Thing or whatever. But anyway, God damn it. Anyways, when she gets the Ray Wise in the bowling alley, that whole sequence is fucking awesome. And he's like telling her, I don't remember at that point if it's Ray. Ray, it's not Eunice, it's Ray.
Yeah,
Ray
it is Ray.
And I don't remember if Ray had died yet or not at that part. I think he had, because she had just gotten out of jail. And she was only arrested after he got killed. So this is like the second to last or right before the second to last episode. And he gives her like the dog, and it's named Ray. And it's like he's implying that he's like his soul's been reincarnated into this puppy.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it was beautiful. And then they bring the deaf guy back from season 1. And like, there's all like, at that point I was just like, this show is the best show on television.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Like her sitting next to the guy on the bus, and he's got that tweed fucking leather jacket on. And then the drums from season 1 start playing.
And you're like, wait, that's the
and you're
guy.
like, oh shit. Like,
there will be blood.
yeah. It's so awesome. And oh God, it's such trickery.
Yeah, they just like dropped the ball in the third act, basically, of that whole season.
Where it really fucking mattered.
Yeah,
like
really mattered. Really fucking mattered.
Set up all these things, but like
David, or what's his name from Naked, is David Thewlis is such a fucking amazing bad guy. He was such a good villain.
He's awesome, but he starts making all these throughout the whole thing. He's like doing these weird little like allegories and stuff that don't always like make sense, but they make you think, and you're like, where's he going with this? Like
they're sinister.
He speaks in such odd ways, and then like near the end, like it's just like how it ends. It literally just makes you think that he's a hack. Like
kind of.
By the end, you're just like, oh fuck, like, and it's not like
they played him almost at. They started giving him this like supernatural-esque feeling. Once they kind of introduced the magical element of Ray Wise's character, you started to get this feeling that like he was like the antithesis of that. He was like this evil component. He was like all the evil in the world or something. And he always seemed to know what was about to happen next. And he always had control of the situation. And he would always tell characters, like throughout that whole season, he was telling characters like when things were going to happen and what was going to happen. And then that last scene, and he's in custody, and Carrie Coon's sitting there with him, and he's basically just like, when that clock gets to when the long hand gets to the 12, people are going to come in here and tell you to let me go, and that's what's going to happen. And she's like, no, it's not. And they get into this like, I would say, philosophical debate about the nature of fate and like what's the time and what's going to happen and all this kind of stuff. And then it never tells you what's going to happen. It cuts away before it ends, before you just hear someone walking down the hall and the clock ticking, and then Carrie Coon smiles, and then nothing.
Yeah.
It ends. And it's like, that would have been really fucking good ending if you had earned it, I guess.
Yeah.
And they got close, I think. But they like, I don't know, thematically they just lost sight.
I don't think they got close. I think
I don't know. I think they had things there that were laying, like early on, that were laying the groundwork for how that ended, but they lost sight of it somewhere in the middle, and they still ended it that way.
They lost sight, and they kept on adding shit.
Yeah, they had a lot of shit. They just kept
and you were like, whoa, this is getting crazy.
Yeah,
like, how many episodes is this?
We're on episode 6. There's only 2 episodes left. What the fuck is gonna happen?
That's what the feeling was. Seriously,
Yeah.
like on episode 6, you're like, wait, what? Like, oh fuck, there's only 8 episodes. What's gonna happen?
It's crazy.
Yeah,
It was a blast to watch week to week.
it was.
But then it was super disappointing at the end.
Yeah, but then you feel empty inside.
Very. It wasn't like season 2 where by the end you were like, "That's amazing."
Yeah, I really want to watch that again.
Yeah, I
Ted
would
Danson's
rewatch
so awesome.
And fucking Nick Offerman,
Oh yeah, he's great in
the
it.
conspiracy theorist. Yeah. Fucking
I think it's weird that the fucking the new guy is in the 3rd season for like the littlest, like, you know, the new guy from I don't know his name.
I forget his name too. They used to say his name all the time on Comedy Central whenever we were about to air the new guy. And they'd be like, so and so, and the new guy. You're gonna
That's
watch the
literally
new
the
guy."
only thing,
That's
like,
the only thing I know him from.
like that he starred in. Obviously.
He was in I think he was in Big Trouble. I think that Tim Allen movie with Zoe Deschanel.
I never watched that.
Dude, it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I don't think I watched that.
It's like Patrick Warburton's in it. It's just like a comedy of errors, and it's like pretty big in scope, and it's like pretty fucking funny. It takes place in Florida. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Home state.
Home state, baby.
Hey.
Repping out.
Florida, spring break. But yeah, anyway, I don't think I don't know. I don't think we really watched. We watch like fucking TV shows and shit that weren't that important. We watch High Maintenance in Atlanta. They're great. Watch them.
Yeah, they're great. They're awesome. Let's see. I watched Collateral, the new Netflix miniseries with Jordan, Carey Mulligan.
Collateral Carbon.
No, I have seen Altered Carbon though.
Altered Collateral. What is it? Oh, Collaterals with Carrie Coon.
Carey Mulligan.
Oh, what am I hearing?
I don't know. You're making
What's
shit
wrong
up.
with me?
You're not listening.
God damn it!
You're doing one half of what the podcast does, demands.
But anyway, we watched a movie.
We watched a movie, guys.
It's called WarGames.
WarGames. Starring Matthew Broderick and Dabney Coleman.
Yeah, and Ally, what's her in the face?
Ally Sheedy.
Seriously. Holy hell. She was worst / best part of the movie. I'm just kidding. No,
She was actually really fun.
the movie's great.
Yeah.
The movie is totally awesome.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I have heard of it,
I've heard of it before.
but did not know Matthew Broderick was in it.
yeah.
Did not know really anything about it at all.
Yeah.
It's super good. Like,
Yeah.
I had a very good time watching it.
Very entertaining.
I was taking notes during the movie, and like halfway during the movie, I was just like, I'm gonna like just take this in. I need to stop. Like, this is so good.
It's one of those movies where you're just like, wait, hold on. I'm going to pay attention to this.
Yeah, this
great.
is just like it's so movie.
Oh, yeah. It's very movie.
I love how fucking movie it is.
I love it too, though. I mean, you don't get movies that are quite that movie these days. Mm-hmm. And it's, I don't know, it's thrilling. It's entertaining.
Okay, so let's start with the very beginning of the film.
Yeah.
The first scene is so good.
Yeah.
The first
Dramatic
scene
as fuck.
is so dramatic, and it's literally just you see these two men pretty much just showing up to work,
But, like,
and they're
they're
going
in-
through all these security protocols and everything, and they're just talking normal, talking shit to like other employees, kind of.
They're like,
you know,
they're obviously doing something like secretive because they're in hazmat suits, and
but
then
also routine, like
very routine. Yeah,
very
It's like they've done this
routine.
100,000 times. Like they do this every day. So the movie does a great job of presenting to you how like abnormal this routine is, but also how mundane it is to the characters.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like you get the sense of like they do this all the time, but what the fuck are they doing?
exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, what are they doing? What the hell?
Yeah.
And they're just bored. Like,
They're bored at work. They're like all of us.
yeah, for sure. But like setting that up makes the scene like it makes it so good because they
Yeah, it really.
They literally go
drives
through
home.
this whole thing, and it's just like you're like, okay, what the fuck are they doing? And
They're going through security
super
checks
interested,
and
all this shit,
protocols.
and then you find out that they're kind of in command of like military defense missiles.
Well, then what we come to.
Offense as well.
Oh yeah, it's defensive and offensive missiles.
Yeah.
Well, what we come to find out are nuclear bombs.
Yes.
Like really, pretty rapidly. We come to find out they're nuclear bombs.
And so they get a call. One guy gets a call, answers it, just like, holy shit, okay, we gotta like launch this missile.
Well, they get a call, and then the alert system starts going off, and then it just comes over the intercom, I think, and then they're like, they have to like they like open a safe with 2 keys, and they pull this like book out, and then they find this like set of codes that like matches what the guy said, and then they both like take them with like they each take a copy of it, and they like snap it open.
Yeah,
It's like
great.
really, it's really cool.
It's really great. They each like enter it in their computer. They have to like record them like agreeing to
They have,
do the process.
They have like a little chart, and the voice over the intercom reads out a series of like letters and numbers using military code,
Yeah.
and they write it all down, and then they like have to find the matching card, and they like really drive through you that this is like A, serious, and B, not part of the routine.
Yeah. Like this isn't a normal day.
Yeah.
And that's not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. And when they finally get the keys, they each have keys, and they got to put them in and turn them at the same time, and it's getting close. And this one guy, he's just like, get somebody on the fucking phone. I need to talk to somebody right now about this.
I will add, it is Leo from The West Wing, for all of you listeners out there who've seen that show.
And he's fantastic.
He's fucking awesome.
And the other guy's like, that's not part of protocol. And he's like, I don't give a fuck.
like,
I'm not going to murder fucking, how many million people.
He's like, I'm not going to pull the trigger. Basically, yeah. He's like, I'm not going to pull the trigger on this until I have authorization from another living human being.
Exactly.
Because I'm not going to just like doom a bunch of people.
Because it's true. It is like crazy, like to think like going through that whole process and like how like unnatural it is to like, it's literally like a computer telling you, okay, go. And it's like, fuck, like,
do I do
this? Or like, can I have a conversation first? Like, that's pretty much what he's driving at.
Yeah.
And the other guy is like, takes out his gun and points it at his
Literally
head.
points to the back of his head and cocks the trigger, and he's like, turn your key.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, this is intense.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Cuts away at that point too, and you're like, did he kill him?
Yeah. Did he kill them? Did they launch the missiles? The missiles are still there. What happened?
Yeah. What's going on?
It's awesome. And then that scene ends and the intro credits start, and the whole vibe is immediately ruined by like some A-Team style music that's like ba, ba, da, ba, da, 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 da. It's just like it's MASH or something. You're like, what the fuck?
I will say this, MASH's theme is so fucking dark that if they had played the MASH theme during this sequence, it would have totally fit the previous scenes.
But I just mean, it's like, it seems like it's some like fucking military comedy from on TV Land.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is MASH.
Yes.
It just makes it seem like that. And you're like, what the fuck?
It almost seems like you could take the theme from MASH and switch it for the music that they played during this, and they would become more appropriate for both like works. The tone of MASH versus the tone of its theme, and then this,
it's, and then you're like, oh fuck. God damn it. Like, I hope this movie doesn't completely change.
I hope it's still as awesome as this opening sequence.
Yeah, but it totally,
it holds up.
Yeah, it holds up. It works itself out eventually. It's great. And then I think like they're just like, during the intro credits, they're just introducing like the defense, like the government's defense organization and stuff, and then and then it's like everyone kind of talking about like how the fuck, like, is the general and everyone talking, and they're
talking about, so like basically we find out that like this was a test, and Dabney Coleman is like the director of NORAD, which is a real security organization. and or at least it was. I'm not sure if it still is. And he's talking to the generals and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that like it's like all these really important political and military figures, and they're discussing how 22% of the people refused to turn the key in the test, and the generals arguing for having those people there as a failsafe, because you want human beings on the other end to make that call, and you don't want it to all be run by a computer. And Dabney Coleman sitting there arguing, well, 22% failed to do it, so if this was the real deal, then we can basically assume 22% of our missiles aren't going to launch, and that's going to be catastrophic in the ultimate, in the outcome, in the war strategy. Essentially, we can't have that. It has to be run by the computer. And then it's really establishing the theme of the movie, which is
it's introducing the Whopper.
The Whopper, which we'll get into all that.
I mean, it is though. No, he literally introduces it right after that.
No, I mean, it's part of the sequence. It's him introducing it, because it's also introducing this theme, which is the whole theme of the movie. Is human error allowed in this, or do we need a computer to run it all? And then can we trust a computer with the lives of every human being on Earth, essentially?
Pretty much.
Which is, we need to set this right now. You can't do it.
You can't do it.
You need
I think there's been plenty of movies to tell us that.
But this was apparently the first, because my God, did this movie have an impact on actual policy.
This one's great.
Oh, it's great.
I love it so much. But talk about that. Yeah.
Thematically, like this movie literally shook Congress and the president to their fucking cores. The first,
literally
grabbed them by the spine and shook the insides of their. So Reagan was friends with one of the screenwriters, like family friends.
Duh.
Yeah, of course. Well, Lawrence Lesker, baby, hey, I'm the president. I don't think that's what Reagan sounded like at all.
It was. Spot on.
Brooklyn kid.
Yeah, the first Trump.
He was, though.
America's first Trump.
He was. He was a smarter Trump. He was a more classy Trump, but he was the same shit. Anyways, this isn't a political podcast. We're not getting into all that crap. But Ronald Reagan saw this movie, and it spoke to him on some kind of level. And he was
probably like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I never thought about it this way. So he had Congress watch it. He had the Joint Chiefs of Staff watch it. He had his aides watch it. To the point where congressmen literally showed it in Congress to establish to describe the idea of a completely computerized fail-safe system, as opposed to the human checkpoint, the human factor. And it led to some of the very first cybersecurity legislation this country ever had. So, which is interesting.
Absolutely. For a movie to do something that powerful is fucking groundbreaking. That's insane. You're not trying to do that when you make a movie.
Especially when you find out how silly the making of this movie actually kind of was.
There's
some silly shit that happened on the set.
But the general it's good writing.
It's well written. It's incredibly well researched. And when you look when I was looking into the movie and reading about how the writers developed it, I mean, there's a whole fucking story. We don't have time to get into all of it on this one particular episode. But the two writers started somewhere else, and they were trying to write a story about a young kid who's way too smart for his surroundings, and he's completely misunderstood. And I mean, that was the basic premise, and the original title was going to be The Genius, and he was going to be an assistant or become an assistant to another genius scientist, which is Dr. Falcon, who was based on Stephen Hawking. They were basing on Stephen Hawking. But then these guys did a shitload of research. They went and met with the actual directors of NORAD, and they went and met with actual security councils and actual hackers. But this was before they were called hackers.
Yeah.
The term firewall started in this movie. It's the first movie that used the word firewall.
Really?
Yeah. So there's all this this is the beginning of computer culture, and they like went heavy into it. Like the main kid, Matthew Broderick's character, is based on a real hacker who was probably around that age at the time that they were writing this. So it is like very well put together.
Yeah.
In terms of from a writing standpoint.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But let's move forward.
Oh my God. So good. So like after that, I'm pretty sure like after that's introduced, that whole concept, then we take it down and we get introduced to our main characters. And we're introduced to Matthew Broderick in the classroom. I'm pretty sure it's a classroom scene.
Yeah, he's like going into class and then the professor is talking about...
He's just ripping on everybody. The professor is just like...
He's just shitting on all the kids.
Not even a professor, just a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not a professor, it's high school.
Yeah.
Then we were watching and you were like, where are all these brick high school buildings? Like,
Yeah.
what the fucking part of the country is this in?
Yeah, for sure.
California.
They're all over the fucking place. No, I mean, like, even like my mom, I was watching Big the other night with my mom, and she's like, my high school looked just like that. And it's the same kind of like fucking just big old
building.
brick flat high school that like, and she's from Ohio. So
Yeah.
they're not all in Cali.
They're all over.
They're just old high schools.
Yeah. They're from a different time.
Yeah. Our high school looked like a bomb shelter.
Yeah. Or literally, it was cement. And it looked like it was a mix between prison and a bomb shelter.
Yeah. But we live in
Aesthetically.
Florida. So it
Yeah. It makes sense. Schools are kind of treated like a prison in Florida. So
it's like, all right,
They're
leave
literally
this
trying to
prison
arm the
and
teachers.
just go to prison.
you leave one prison, you're going to real prison.
Here at the beach for a little while, but back to prison.
Oh no, there's meth on the streets. You're going to prison.
Sorry. Tried meth once on accident.
It's Florida, okay?
It's everywhere.
I thought it was smoking a bowl of weed, and it turns out it was fucking crystal.
It was on the card at Walmart.
It was in my Kit Kat bar.
Yeah. I didn't eat a Tide Pod. Am I good to go? Fuck.
God damn it.
But okay, so you're introduced, and it's just kind of like blah blah blah. I'm a teacher. I fucking hate my kids. They suck.
Basically.
Ally, what is her name? Jennifer is our main character.
Jennifer's
main
her character
main
name.
Yeah, main girl. And
she's giggling with her friends, just having a grand old time.
yeah, and then you're just like, he like calls her out and like tells the class that she like sucks and like got a D or something.
Got an F. He like asks her a question and she gives him a pretty funny response from what I remember. Just like he goes, what bonds nitrogen to flowers or something like that? And she's like, love.
Yeah,
And he's like, I don't know what world you're living in. And he holds up her paper and he's like, apparently it's not one where you can get a good grade. And like,
yeah, and she says, thank you. He says,
she's
you're
just-
welcome.
And she giggles. Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah, I was just like, Jesus Christ. And then so he's like, I'm wondering if anyone can tell me, what was the
Who first suggested procreation without sex?
and he's like, anyone at all? And
writing
he's
the
like,
term asexual.
yeah, and then like Matthew Broderick David
Yeah.
is like whispering to his pal next to him.
He like
And he's-
whispers something, and
yeah, and
everybody
teacher's
starts
like,
giggling.
Teacher's like, David.
No. He calls out Ally Sheedy's character again because she starts laughing really hard when he says it, and he's like, what's so funny? Anything you want to share with the class? And she's like, and she keeps looking back over at Matthew Broderick over her shoulder, and he's like, David, do you have something you want to add to the discussion? He's like, not really. And he's like, well, why don't you answer the question? Who first suggested that procreation without sex? And he goes, your wife.
And it's great. He doesn't even like skip a beat.
Yeah,
He's literally
perfect.
just like, your wife? And it's like, damn, it's so good.
Everybody starts laughing. Apparently on set that day, the crew didn't know that was the punchline. And most of the laughter you hear in the movie is the actual crew cracking up.
It's awesome. That's awesome.
So funny.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Because I laughed.
I laughed so hard. It's the funniest line, probably the funniest line in the whole movie.
Yes, fantastic joke. It's just classic, baby.
It's classy.
So boom, Matthew Broderick, he's edgy. Ooh. Gets in trouble. His grades aren't that great, but you know he's a smart guy. You figure it out. So like I don't know, he's like leaving school, and that's when she like rides up to him on her like fucking motorbike or something, and she's like, "Whoa, how do you drive this thing?" And she's like crazy as fuck. And you're like, "What the hell?" Like I don't know if like in real life this smart kid would be like fucking around with this girl. You like think he's almost like would like murder like her or something. Like
he's a little creepy.
Yeah, he's just like, "Yeah, what's up? Like come over." Like.
He's like, she's like, "Can I give you a ride?" And he's like, "Yeah." I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So they go to his house and go in his room, and you see that Matthew Broderick's room is like all this computers and all this stuff.
He's very tech oriented.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially for 1983.
And so before you actually see when he got sent to the principal's office, that's where he finds out that like when the principal's not in there, he's like looks at this little piece of paper that's like hidden in the desk, and you see all these words scratched out, but the one at the bottom isn't. That's how he like finds out the password to hack into the mainframe of like the computer.
Too that he constantly gets in trouble so he can get back there and just
see the password.
Words. Yeah. He's like constantly getting into like minor amounts of trouble so he can get the passwords for the week.
Yeah. So he's in this room with Jennifer, and he's like hacking into like the computer of the school pretty much.
Yeah, he like dials into the school computer.
Yeah, which is great. It's just super cool. Like everything he's doing just looks so cool. I don't know how accurate it is, but it looks great.
It's accurate.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, that's cool.
There was the actual act, like the scene not too long after that where he's like scanning all the telephone numbers with the dial-up internet. That's actually how hackers did that. And it had a different term until this movie came out, and then this movie, it's now called war dialing because of WarGames.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Jesus.
It's just pretty cool.
But he gets in there, he's like, yeah, I know where they keep the passwords, so I get in here all the time. Yeah. Like
they change it every few weeks.
Like,
I know where they keep it.
Yeah, and he's like changing his grades, and she's like, "Oh my god, you changed mine?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can change yours," and he like changes it, and she's like, I think he suggested actually. He's like,
she was like, "Can you look up my grades?"
He's like, "Do you have a middle initial?" Looks her fucking ass up. He's like, "Look, you got a B or a C or something now." He doesn't bump it up too high, but he bumps it up from the F.
He bumps from an F to a C, and he's like, "Look, you just passed."
Yeah, and she's like, "Change it back.
Change it back right now."
And he's like, "Geez, Louise, okay." She gets upset, leaves. He changes that shit to an A.
He's like, "I knew she wanted to change her mind."
Yeah. And so, so that happens, and then she comes back eventually, meets him at the arcade. She's like, "Hey, can you still change my grade?" And he's acting like weird. He's like, "Yeah, let's go." Fucking goes back there. It's like, she's like, "When are you gonna change my grade?" And he's like, "Actually, I already did it." And that's when I was like, that's like when the creepiest Matthew Broderick is in the movie, when he's like, "Actually, I already changed it." And you think he's just gonna like murder her right there. Yeah. You don't really think that, but like if it was in any other movie, like you're just like, "Oh shit." Like
if it had been real life, it would be like, "Yeah, I'm getting out of here." Okay, you're weird.
Bye. Yeah. You're a very strange person.
Yeah, you're making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I think that's when he's been like looking like at this Protovision like ads and stuff, and he's trying to like get into this gaming, like this like.
Well, he sees this ad for a new game that's coming out, and he's like, "I want to see what this game is like before it's released." So he does like what I was just describing, the war dialing, where he like scans all the numbers in like Los Angeles basically, and then finds the ones that are like connected to computers and shit, and he starts like hacking into them until he can find it. And that's when he stumbles across essentially the government's computer.
Yeah.
And he hacks into it. or like doesn't quite hack into it, but he's like trying to, and it won't accept him. And then he starts asking it questions, and it lists out, he like asks it about games because he's looking for a game, and then it starts registering all these different games like chess and checkers and blah blah blah, and then it starts getting into like global warfare.
Well, he starts talking. Somehow he finds out about Falcon. How did he find about Falcon?
That's later. So he finds this. He accidentally finds the server for this for Whopper.
Yeah.
And then is like, why can't I get in? And then he's like, well, let me ask for help. And he like accesses the help queue.
Yeah.
And then it's like, can't do that. And then he's like, help queue for the games, because he thinks he's still dealing with a gaming system. And then it starts listing off all these games, what he thinks are games. But then it starts getting like,
which is a very haunting moment in the film. Like,
because it's not.
Literally, like it's just like chess, checkers.
Tic-tac-toe.
Well, it says Falcon's Maze or something first.
Yeah.
It says Falcon's Maze, chess, checkers, tic-tac-toe, thermonuclear warfare.
Or global thermonuclear war.
Yeah.
And
then it just keeps on listing like a bunch of crazy shit. And like literally like watching that part, like your heart kind of drops. Like I was like, oh no. Fuck. It's like pretty like, damn. It's a good moment.
It is a good moment.
You feel it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They do like, because they don't rely on shitty music or weird editing or reaction shots. It's like very like the music drones out, and then it's just like the mundanity of that moment makes you feel the
it's just raw.
Yeah, it's very raw.
It's raw. It's great. I love that shit a lot.
I do too. I fucking love it. And like we both were like, oh shit, at that part. Like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then he prints it out. He's like, I want to print out of this, and then takes it to those fucking nerds who are awesome.
They were so good. Okay, this movie has a lot of charm. It's got charming. So much charm that like so many movies these days just do not fucking have. Like, there's no like. Movies are so awesome when there's just little moments, like little fucking moments that aren't even pertinent to the story, but just like it just seems like it's so natural. You know, it's just real life kind of stuff. Yeah,
it fits into the world really well. Yeah.
And one of them is when he's showing this transcript to the guy he's trying to show to, and there's this nerd there who's like just being a fucking just annoying dick.
But like he seems like he's completely oblivious to the fact that he's being an annoying dick. It makes me think he's on the spectrum or something. I mean, that's kind of what they make it seem like. And there's like even the moment where the other like hacker who's working with him.
This is what I'm saying. This is like the charming moment.
Yeah.
It was when that hacker is literally just like, listen, you know, you're being really insensitive and you're being a huge.
He's like, you remember when you asked me to tell you when you're being a really like big, like you're being really insensitive and you're not handling people's feelings well, you're being a jerk. And he's like, yeah. And he goes like, well, this is one of those moments right now. And he's like, oh.
And I love that.
It's
like
really funny.
It was so good. And like you're just like, oh, that guy's so cool and nice. Like you love that guy.
Yeah, well, there's a whole history between those characters that's implied just in that interaction.
Exactly.
That like there's all this like it's like the normal well-adjusted hacker and probably the genius hacker who doesn't socially get along well with others, completely goes over his head, and they have like a back and forth, and you can already tell that they have a back and forth, and this guy's like so tired of the other guy's shit, but he loves him and he wants him to just like he loves working with him. They want to get along.
Yeah,
you know, he wants to get along with him, and then you just get this feeling of like they're like great friends, but they hate each other at the same time. It's great. Yeah,
it's so good. I love that.
Really short scene.
It's like that, and like that, and the dad. The dad is so like Matthew Broderick's dad has like a charming moment. He has a few charming moments, like when they're eating the corn, and he's like, "This is raw," and she's like, "Yeah, you can taste all the vitamins." Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Why can't we just take pills and eat corn?"
That works so well too, because the whole scene leading up to that, there's like other stuff going on, and the entire time he's like buttering this piece of bread, like heavy butter on this piece of bread, and you're like, what? That's so gross. And then he takes the bread and he takes his corn and he puts his corn like it's like a cob of corn and he puts it on the bread and then just starts like
rolling
it around, and it's like he's like buttering his corn. I was like, we were watching, I was like, that's hilarious. I've never seen anybody do it that way, but that's actually a really smart way to get butter all over your corn.
It's a good way to butter that corn.
A good way to butter that corn. So he gets the butter on the corn, he's like salting it and putting pepper on it, and like he's preparing the corn the entire scene.
Like a real fucking dad.
Like a real fucking dad. That's how I'm gonna be when I'm a dad. I'm gonna prepare that fucking corn. But then the whole scene plays out, and they could have cut away because like the action of the actual scene that's pertinent to the plot of the movie has left the room with Matthew Broderick, but they hold on for a second to give you this that fucking great joke.
Yeah,
because the whole time he's been like getting this corn ready, and then he finally gets to go take a bite and takes a bite, and it's fucking raw. And his wife's like, "Oh yeah, you can taste the vitemins."
Yeah, it's like this 80s, like early 90s thing that like it's in a lot of movies where they just like it, almost like the scene just goes on. Like it's kind of like Edward Scissorhands-esque. Like that's what it like makes me feel like there's just like lines and things that aren't like they're not important, but they're just like
Scissorhands and more of like the John Hughes.
Yeah, John Hughes for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like Ferris Bueller's Day Off feels similar to this movie in some of the irreverence that is shown, and which is funny because Matthew Broderick's obviously. You know what's funny?
I found out I never saw this movie, but you know that movie Drill Bit Taylor with Owen Wilson. You know, there's a John Hughes script that like never got made, and they like rewrote.
Yeah, they had to have rewritten that one.
But like I was like,
I can see the John Hughes kernel in there, but
like that's so weird.
It's a decent movie. It's actually not a decent movie. There's a kernel of decentness in the movie.
You lose points for next week.
I just lost points. I'm starting.
Chase
at a
already
loss.
lost.
Starting at a
negative
loss.
1 million.
Oh, I can't come back from that. We're dealing on single-digit scales.
Drill Bit Taylor's decent. Wrong answer.
You lose at life. Do you want the guillotine or hanging?
Oh God, guillotine? Oh, no. Wrong answer. You get hanged.
You're hanging.
Oh God.
Oh God. Do you want a David Carradine hanging? I mean, if I'm gonna die, I might as well try it, right? Right?
Wrong answer.
Wrong answer. You're gonna get killed by the Yakuza, motherfucker.
Hell yes. Oh my God. There's some movie coming out with what's his face joining the Yakuza. Jared Leto.
Oh, that Netflix show or whatever.
Is it a show?
It's a show, or I don't know. I saw the
somebody was talking about it and just shitting on just the concept. Like it's like Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. It's like why the fuck would the Yakuza be like Jared Leto? Come on. But I don't know the premise or anything. So
the Last Samurai actually makes more sense than the Yakuza accepting a white man.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Yeah. Because the Last Samurai, at least there's some context. He's like a prisoner of war, and he just comes to love them and becomes part of their culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, like, for sure. Yeah. But there's this whole thing where you look at The Last Samurai and then you see Tom Cruise's face and you go,
he's not the Last Samurai.
Well, that's not cool.
Yeah, it's not at all. Not even a little bit.
He can be like a samurai.
Isn't Ken Watanabe in that movie?
I don't know.
I think he's
I've not seen that movie in a very long time.
I will say this.
I think I watched it twice, maybe.
I bought it when I was in college because it was on sales on $5 bin at Walmart, and I was collecting Blu-rays at the time. I was like, anything I could get my hands on that was Blu-ray, I was just gonna buy it.
I just need them.
I wanted to watch them. I was trying to get my hands. It's just like I can't watch this movie. I'm not gonna rent it. I'll just buy it on Blu-ray. It's cheaper than renting it. But I watched it, and talk about a great script with poor execution. Yeah. Well written, well acted. Fucking horrible direction. It's boring. It's just boring direction. Taking the same script and the same actors and throwing that into Scorsese's hands, you'd have a fucking masterpiece. That show would have been awesome. You wouldn't have to change a line of dialogue.
I'm sure. Awesome. I'm sure. Yeah. I believe you.
Yeah. Well, he made his own Japanese movie called Silence, and it's really good.
Oh.
Have you seen that yet?
No.
Oh, dude.
I've not.
All right, that's on your list. You want to beat me next week? You just watch Silence.
Really? That's all I have to do?
Pretty much the 3.5 hour long epic.
Fuck. yeah, you got me there.
It's a Scorsese movie.
God fucking damn it. All right.
It's fan-fucking-tastic. Will not bore the shit out of you at all.
Yeah. It's less points if you watch it in 2 sittings. You have to
or fall asleep.
Oh, wait. Silence. I fucking totally know what it is. I've watched... I started watching it on this website that we use that I'm not going to mention because it's secret and we want to keep it that way.
Possibly illegal.
I don't know. Who knows?
I'm not questionable. Just accept it.
But it's a great website. But like the voices were just a little off, and I was like,
no,
I can't watch this entire film like this because
it's too long. Because
this seemed really fucking good.
It's really good.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed, what I saw. I got up to like right when they met Liam Neeson's character.
What? You got that far into the movie?
Maybe not. No,
you made it that far.
Your reaction just told me that I didn't.
Liam Neeson is in the beginning of the movie, but they did not meet him yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably what
the scene where he apostatizes.
That's probably what I saw then, and I was just like, oh, Liam Neeson. Yeah. I didn't get very far. I probably got like 45 minutes in or something like that.
I would honestly rewatch that movie.
And I was just like
for this podcast, I would rewatch it.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it in theaters. And
you saw it in theaters? That's awesome. I bet it was great.
It was amazing. Jordan and I sat in silence, literally after watching the movie Silence, on the car ride home because it was so like powerful.
Yeah.
When we got home, we started talking about it, but we literally didn't say a word when we left the theater. We just had to sit in silence. We couldn't think about it because it's just so fucking heavy. And
I'm trying to think of the movie that I feel like that happened with like The Master or something like that.
Oh, The Master.
Something.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the one, but there was a movie that I was like, I don't need to talk about it right now. I just need to like soak in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Phantom Thread was kind of like that for me the first time I saw it.
Phantom Thread, I was trying to figure out what I was feeling after the movie, honestly. I really didn't know. Second time watching Phantom Thread made a lot more sense to me than the first time.
But the second viewing of that, I was just like, this is one of the all-time classics.
I loved it.
Me. Yeah, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, it's going to go on my shelf when it comes out.
There was like a interview with Jennifer Lawrence that I was listening to, and they were talking about award screeners and stuff, and the interviewer was like, you watch Phantom Thread? And she was like, I don't know, I watched like 10 minutes of it. Like, what is it about clothes? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Are you what?
I was like, what?
That makes me hate her.
But no. The interview was really good, and I actually didn't care for her that much before the interview, and I liked her a good bit. So, like, obviously, like, she's an actress, and like, movies are probably very different for. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
but like being a movie, I'm not.
Come on, we've all dated her.
I'm not condemning her or or advocating her or anything. But I'm just saying, I thought that was very. I was like, I don't know, Jennifer, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, okay, so like,
we all say stupid shit.
We do. I mean, I dated an actress in college, and I'm not going to say her name on this because
she's super famous.
She might be
already.
One day. She might one day be famous. She's got the fucking skills. I will give her that, and she's got the connections. So she's been on TV shows. So I'm not going to fucking drop her name, and she probably is going to listen to this when she finds out that this is a thing that we're doing. So I really don't want to fucking throw her into this realm.
Yeah.
But like, she probably would have had the same reaction to the Phantom Thread. Just, what is this? What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, she could open her mind when you make her.
But
you're gonna sit here and watch Mulholland Drive with.
But like, you don't say what is this, and then you turn it off after 10 minutes.
We do. We do that all the time.
I know, but not with freaking Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Thomas Anderson.
I know.
You don't go, what is this? Oh my God.
But then it's like, do they know the significance?
Clothes.
What's this, clothes?
Okay, we need to get back to WarGames.
I know. We're an hour and 10 minutes into this.
That's totally fine. That's great. So okay, we were talking about the nerds and the hackers and them. They explain. I don't know. I don't even know how the fuck they make the connection to Falcon. They talk about Falcon's maze. Perhaps was it. He's like, let's play. He's just like, you should just play a game. Doesn't he suggest like playing a game or something?
Yes.
With it,
Yes.
and then he types in Falcon's maze.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Well, it first says like, let's play a game. And he's like, sure. And he's like, how about a nice game of chess? And he was like, no, how about Global Thermonuclear War? And he goes, are you sure you don't want to just play a nice game of chess? And he just retypes in Global Thermonuclear War. And he's like, okay. And then it loads the map. And him and Ally Sheedy are like, oh my God, this is crazy. And he's like, this looks great. And then then asks him like, which team do you want to play it for? And he's like, it's like one for
I think he
United
finds
States or
out
two
about
for
Falcon
Russia.
before that though.
Well,
Because he has to find the Joshua password.
so when he sees the list of games, it says Falcon's Maze, and so when he takes it to the nerds, I'm calling them the nerds.
The nerds. That's totally
Fine, okay.
There's like one super fucking nerd, and
Yeah.
we'll just categorize the other guy as a nerd too.
Yeah. So he takes them to the computer expert nerds, and then the guys are like, "This isn't a game, or this isn't the Panavision game. This is
Yeah, it
like
looks like military.
This looks military. I don't know what this is, but like you need to be careful." And he's like, "Oh shit, okay." And then he goes and starts researching Falcon because he got the name from the printout of like what games are on there.
Yeah.
And he wants to be able to get into the software.
Oh, he starts researching it.
And he's researching him because he wants
So
to know
then
what
he
his
finds him.
because basically the other guy was like, I would have built a like backdoor into this program that's a password that I would only know, and it would be relevant to the person who created this software.
There we go. That's what it is.
So-
and then, which brings up this awesome scene that we're we're not going to read. I thought about it. I don't think we should, but there are a couple good lines in it. Really, just one great line. So like they're like watching like almost like a fucking YouTube video of Falcon. Like there's like a montage scene on his computer
Yeah.
that he finds, which is
Finds,
weird
like, a
because
tape. He like went and found a tape. He's
Yeah.
like, goes to the library, I think.
Oh,
There's a
okay,
sequence
is
where
that
he
what it
goes
is?
to the library and looks.
yeah, and it's like they're in his bedroom and she's like, "Oh my God, that's him," and he's like, "Yeah, that's him," and she's like,
He's amazing looking. It's the way she says it.
Yeah, he's amazing looking, and you're like,
He's amazing looking.
just say he looks good, or
Yeah.
like he looks amazing,
Yeah.
or like even he looks amazing is weird. Like just like being like,
What she's trying to say is he looks so young and he's handsome, but the way the excitement she gets, you can see her just like,
he doesn't even look young.
no.
He doesn't look old or young. He just looks like a dude.
Well, the reason I say she's trying to say he looks young is because of the context of the next few lines.
Yeah.
'Cause he just what does he say? He goes, well, he's old.
He says, she's like, can you like contact him? And she's like, no, he's dead. And he's like,
Yeah, he's like, no.
she looks at his obituary. He's like, here's her obituary. And she's like, oh, he wasn't very old. And he was pretty old. He was 41. That's what he says.
She goes, wow, that is old.
What? No, that's not old.
No.
I don't even think that was old for the 80s. Calm
I'm going to
down.
be 41 in 15 years.
You're going to be dead in 10.
Did you just curse me?
Knock on podcast.
I don't even have wood in here. No,
Anyway.
I'm gonna be dead next year. I'm joining the 27 club.
Oh my God. So cool.
Edgy. I'm so edgy.
Yeah. You're going to be on one of those posters in FYE.
I'm gonna be like with Kurt Cobain and like Jimi Hendrix, and people are gonna put my poster on their walls. Like, I'm just gonna be like the fantasy.
You're just going to be sitting on a couch in the background.
Yeah. Just like,
like watching a movie.
yeah. Who's that guy? Oh, he was nobody. He sat in his house and watched movies and no one knew who he was. But he's 27.
He spent all of his money just to be on these posters. And then he shot himself on the day he turned 27.
On the last day of him being 27, he hung himself like David Carradine.
Oh my God, beautiful.
But yeah. So they start playing Global Thermonuclear War.
Yeah. And it's like, who do you want to be? The Russians?
Or the United States? He's like, I want to be the Russians.
Yeah.
Well, I will preface this as before. He got into the computer by figuring out the password is the name of Vulcan's dead son, Joshua. And that's important because we're going to start referring to the computer as Joshua instead of Whopper.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Whopper is a great name, and they named it Whopper on purpose. It's a joke about the Whopper burger. And the actual computer that does war strategies is named Burger, B-R-G-R.
So it's just a play.
It's a play on that.
Yeah.
So but the rest of the movie, these characters refer to the program as Joshua.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Falcon starts to refer to it as Joshua. So it just makes more sense to refer to this thing as Joshua.
Yeah. Well, also that scene where the computer's like, what about a nice game of chess? Like that, the computer is being charming.
Yeah.
And it's also almost like, hey man, calm down.
We're
not gonna do that.
I wish.
And you're like, yeah, come on.
Now that Trump's our president, I really hope that our computer systems are like that, where it's like, are you sure you want to do a nuke? Why don't we play a nice game of chess?
Yeah, well, you just calm down a little bit.
It's like, yeah,
but not chess. Don't ask Trump to play chess. Just ask him to play some game he's gonna win.
That's like when you ask a 7-year-old to play chess and you start explaining the rules to them and they just flip the board upside down. They're like, I don't wanna.
Yeah, right.
That's the outcome of that. So.
Yikes.
So, anyways. So instead of playing chess, he decides he wants to play what he thinks is the game Global Thermonuclear War. And he launches a bunch of missiles at Las Vegas and Seattle, which him and Ally Sheedy are like, yeah, let's kill them all.
Yeah.
Because they live in Seattle. I'm assuming. I think that's where
that's where it is. And they're like, yeah, Seattle. That's where we're from. Cool.
We're going to nuke ourselves.
Yeah. And then so this signal immediately goes to the war room pretty much.
Start freaking
and they're like,
out.
holy fucking shit. And it's all like a simulation, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're about to fucking bomb Russia.
Yeah.
And they're about to do it. And this guy fucking runs in. And he's just like, no, wait, it's a simulation.
It's not real.
It's a simulation. I don't know how this is happening.
He's like, somebody got into our system. It's not real. The computer's playing against someone. We've been hacked, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to, if I remember, it cuts back to the kids, to Broderick and Sheedy, or to their life, to the suburbs in Seattle. And it's like, he's getting, Matthew Broderick's coming home from the arcade. And I think that's where he was. And then he notices his dad watching the news, and then they're talking about. Oh,
he's literally giving his grades to his dad, which is another very charming moment.
Oh yeah, with his father. Yeah,
his dad's like, "Wow, this is good."
Yeah,
his dad's awesome.
Yeah, his dad's awesome. He's surprised but proud. Oh, son, this is good.
So awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
And yeah, and then just in the background, you see the news.
And then Matthew Broderick sees the news in the background. So we're definitely in his point of view at this point.
Yeah, and it's just talking about this whole thing that happened with the military, almost.
They're reporting a watered down version of a nuclear scare. And then he's and there's some details that get said, and it's really quick, and he's just like, that sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit, did I do that?
What? And he goes upstairs. And he has
his phone's ringing. Yeah,
his phone's ringing. He has a phone call from Jennifer, and she says, "Fucking."
It's the funniest conversation.
It's such a good scene. I loved it so much.
It's so good, in fact.
And we should talk about it a little bit before we do what we're gonna do.
Okay.
So she's like, oh my God, David, are they talking about us? Like what we did? Was that us? And he's like, I don't know. Like I feel like it is, man. He's like,
I don't know.
I don't know, Scoob.
And he's like, I'm so screwed. They're going to come get me. I'm screwed.
Yeah. And she's like, calm down, David. Like, what are you talking about? Like it's like so like.
She takes this like weird attitude. She's like,
they
fine.
totally didn't trace it. Like I know they didn't. I'm sure they didn't trace it.
Going,
all you got to do is throw the number away, and like they'll never find us.
Act like everything's fine. They'll never know.
Yeah, like, can I tell my friends about this? And he's like, fuck no. Like, she's like, okay, whatever. So we each wrote a script
to parody the scene.
Scene.
I will preface this as well. You came over tonight and you were like, I want to write a script on this scene. And then neither of us are going to read the other one's script. And then we're going to read them together on this podcast. And I was like, dude, fuck yeah. That sounds great. That's like, we're implementing some changes into this and we're trying to come up with some format stuff. And like, so hopefully we're going to do this more in the future and we'll come up with a name for what this is and stuff. Probably on the podcast. We'll talk it out. But when you came over and suggested that, I'm like, I'm down. And we watched the scene and then we start writing our scripts and you like write yours way faster than me. And I was like, oh, damn, you're already done. He was like, oh, I was thinking about this last night. I kind of like, oh, God damn it. You got a big jump on me. I'm making this shit up as we go.
Well, I just thought about it. I just thought like of a couple lines, like just because like how silly she is. I was just thinking of exaggerations of that.
Yeah.
You know, I was just thinking of lines like, oh my God, like this is so fucking silly.
Yeah.
So whose do you want to do first?
Let's do yours first.
Let's do mine first. Have you got it?
I'm pulling it up now. I've not read it.
Okay. No worries at all.
I see timeline.
Just go all the way down and you'll see the phone call underneath. There's a page.
Phone call, I see.
Yeah, wonderful. And Chase will be playing Jennifer, and I'll be playing David.
And then when we do mine, we'll switch.
And we'll switch. The person who does not know, has not read this, is Jennifer, which is the wild card character.
Yeah. So that would be me. I've never read this before.
He's never read this before, and he's going to start off. Okay. Bring.
David, are you watching the news?
Jennifer, yeah, I'm watching.
Are they talking about us? About what we did?
Oh, Jesus, I'm screwed, Jennifer. Screwed. I'm going to get locked up.
What? Oh, my God, David. You are such a pussy. Calm down. This is so cool.
Jennifer, no. This is a real problem. This is the United States government we're talking about.
OMG. I totally just remembered this weird thing that happened today at school. So Tiffany and I were talking about how famous I could get off this. And like this fucking asshole was like totally listening. And then...
Jennifer, oh, no. What is wrong with you?
OMG. You know what I just realized? That maybe this is a dream, David. In fact, I'm sure of it. We're in a dream.
Jennifer, you're really freaking me out. I'm freaking out. This is real. This is real. We could be in real trouble if they found out it was us.
Oh, well, there goes my dream theory. You know, my dad's in the military. He could help. Should I tell him?
No, please, God. Jennifer, no.
Okay, fine. You win, you little puss. David?
Yes, Jennifer.
I'm pregnant.
Oh!
That's funny.
Okay, end scene.
End scene.
That was fun. If you have not watched the movie, you should watch it. This will make more sense. This telephone conversation is pretty funny.
Okay. So now we're gonna do my script, and Alan's gonna play Jennifer.
I'm Jennifer.
And I'm David.
Bring. Are you watching the news?
Yeah, I'm watching.
Is that us on TV? Are they talking about us?
I don't know, Jennifer. Maybe. I think so. Oh, Jesus. I am so screwed. They're going to come get me. What am I going to do?
Shh. Calm down. Just calm down. Just shh.
But Jennifer.
I said shh. Now, don't worry so much, you silly dum-dum. I'm sure everything's fine. Now, listen. If they were so smart, they would have already found you. They've obviously a bunch of shit brains.
Yeah, but...
Shh. Shh. Now all you need to do is throw the number away and never call it again. That's all. Duh.
I mean, yeah, maybe they didn't trace the call.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they didn't trace the call.
Yeah.
Shh. I'm sure they didn't trace the call. Now listen. Shh. All you gotta do is act like nothing happened, okay?
Okay.
Shh. Just shh. We're both just gonna act like nothing happened and everything's gonna be all right. Shh. Shh. Just shh. God damn, you talk too much. Don't you ever shut up. If you keep talking like this, you're gonna get us both caught.
Jennifer, what are you talking?
Jeez, now, hey, this is so crazy. Do you think I can call Michelle and tell her?
No, you can't do that.
Shh. How many times do I have to tell you? Sorry. Now stop worrying so much, silly. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? Bye. Click.
I'm gonna have to kill her.
End scene. That was great. I like yours a lot.
Thanks.
That's fantastic. Pretty much, like, that's what it feels like. Just like, oh my God, you fucking idiot.
Yeah,
like, it's gonna be fine. And he's just like, I'm gonna fucking murder her. Yeah. Like, she is off the fucking cuff.
And she's just like, we just gotta act like everything's normal. Oh my God, this is crazy. Can I tell my friends about this? And you're like, what?
No, fuck no.
You just said the opposite.
Yeah, it's so true. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. That was fun. Let's do that more.
Yeah, let's definitely do that more. That was fun.
If you like that, let us know. We had a good time with that.
We had a good time doing it. If you had a good time listening to it, let us know, because we would like to keep doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so after that whole thing, like, Matthew Broderick's just fucking freaking the shit out. He's just like paranoid as fuck.
Yeah.
Like the antithesis of fucking paranoia.
Well, it's crazy too, because he gets super paranoid. He, like, the phone rings and he picks it up and it just keeps ringing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
And it's like, oh shit. And he, like, hangs it up and pulls the cord out, and it, like, I can't stress to you enough, at this point in the movie, you were entering into the thriller period, and it's actually serious, and the tonal shift is, like, from the hilarity of this conversation to this, like, seriousness of, like, literally this continuation of the scene. You feel it. Mm-hmm. You're like, me and you both looked at each other and we were like, oh fuck, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then it, like, shows him at that 7-Eleven and he's, like, walking out with his big gulp or whatever, and then, like, there's, like, a guy kind of like obviously watching him, and then a car just, like,
just a bunch of suits show
and
up,
it just, like, really
and just
fast,
fucking ambush his ass.
yeah,
and just
it's like it's scary kind of.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like in Russia, like, when you just get black bagged and disappears, like in the Great Terror and stuff. I mean, come on. Yeah. But it was scary. You're just like, oh shit.
It was very mob-like. It was like...
Yeah, it was very mob-like. I mean, I think that scene happened, they throw him in the van, and I was like, and then he was never seen again.
Yeah, for sure. But it's very flashy as well, the way they do it. Like, there's, like, way too many people. And it's like... But, like, they really... they see him as a threat, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For sure. So that's when he gets taken to this, like, military,
to
the facility there. I honestly don't know why they took him there in retrospect.
I don't know why they wouldn't have taken him to a detention center, because they legitimately think he's a Russian spy and he's working with somebody.
Exactly. But they pretty much take him to the exact spot they need to take him to for the movie.
The plot. Yeah. And the movie's good enough to where you're not questioning it.
I didn't question it till just now.
I legitimately didn't question it until just now. And you're thinking about it and you're like, they probably would have taken him to, like, a detention facility. But, like, I guess technically their way they're depicting it is, like, this is also the closest detention facility, and it's the Defense Council, and it's all tied in together, so it makes sense movie-wise for him to be there. Yeah. And, like, it doesn't really fucking
the people
matter.
who are ahead of that need to talk to this motherfucker and be like, what the fuck?
And they're not leaving that facility because they're dealing with what they think is a Russian global thermonuclear war crisis.
Yeah, exactly. And so they put him in this little room for a second, and then they bring him out, and the head of, like, Whopper, pretty much, the guy who, like, explains, I can't remember his name. I can never remember his name.
Dabney Coleman is
Dabney Coleman. Yeah, he he's like, I want to have a talk with you. Come on. And he like pretty much brings him into this room that just like oversees the war room. And like immediately David is making like all the worst, like most incriminating like responses. Yeah. He's just like, wow, this is some setup. This is great. Like, wow, look at all this. Like, just like being way too interested and stuff. Yeah. And you're like, hey, shut up. Shut the fuck up, Matthew. Like, God damn it. And he's just like explaining, like, yeah, that little stunt you pulled, you know, we're on DEFCON 3. We would be on.
We're on DEFCON 4, but we would be on DEFCON 3. Except we figured out it was you.
Real. Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, but normally we'd be on DEFCON 5.
Yeah. And he explains it in such a way that it's just like a disappointed fucking father that's going to put you in jail.
Yeah. He's like, you've disappointed me, son, and in this family, disappointment gets you a lifetime
disowned. Dis-fucking owned.
Dis-fucking owned.
Yeah. And it's so great. So like he gives him this whole speech about this, like thinking like they had also reserved 2 tickets to Paris earlier just as a joke because he's got like
he hacked into the system and he was showing off Ally Sheedy because he was
showing off to this girl.
Yeah.
And then
they weren't actually going to pay for the tickets or go to Paris.
Exactly. He's like, so who are you going to Paris with? You know, like it looks like he's set up.
Yeah, and
to bomb America and then leave the country,
and with his like co-conspirator.
Exactly.
And they're like, "Who's your other co-conspirator?"
Yeah, and then the phone starts ringing, and the phone's ringing, and ringing and ringing, and I love this part. And David goes, "Aren't you going to answer that?"
And Dabney Coleman,
just staring at him, and then he answers it, and he goes, "Yeah." What? He's like immediately shit. Like
he goes, yeah, What? He turns his head.
What? Yeah, he turns his head like the whole like pacing and like
it's thrown off right then.
But it's so
it's a total
good.
Shift. It's like comedy again because it's so serious. And
yeah, just because he waited so long and he was being so intense,
and they're staring at him and they're really like drawing attention to the fact like he's just staring him down. He's like it's almost like the phone is the interrogation tactic, letting it ring
exactly
and, like uncomfortably and
he like he like uses it like he's smooth as hell and answers it, and then it's immediately like an important phone call of like some shit going down. He's like, oh, okay, like I'll be right back. Don't touch anything. Leaves. What the fuck? Now Matthew Broderick's just in this room and
by himself
gets on a computer because that's the smart thing to do and logs into Joshua. And
then starts playing the game again with him. And like,
well, he starts asking Joshua, is like, is this a game or is this real? Which is fucking it's super intense. Yeah. Like
again, and the response
he goes,
he gives
what's the difference?
And you're like me and you were both like, this is intense as fuck. Like this is making me feel
it
shit.
Gives you goosebumps. Like that, what's the difference? Like, oh my fucking God.
The philosophy of this movie is fucking incredible, guys. So definitely don't undersell the fact that this movie knows what it's trying to say. And knows what it's trying to make you feel.
It's great. And then it starts saying like, would you like to give me some projected kill ratios? And it's like 69% of the housing destroyed, 72 million people dead. Like it's like saying all this shit. And you're like, what the fuck? It's like, it's absolutely fucking insane.
It's so insane.
And I think he starts freaking out what does he say? Oh, he starts talking.
He asks him about. He was like, the computer's like, you're a hard man to reach, and he's like,
yeah.
What do you mean? And he's like, your home computer here, and you blah blah blah. I haven't been able to get a hold of you or whatever. And he's like, where's my home computer? Like, where is this place? And he gets the address where what turns out to be where Falcon actually is still alive. He's not actually dead.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's like how he gets that information. And then he knows the only way to prove that he's not a Russian spy trying to blow up America is to find the guy who created the program and get him to help stop the program.
Yeah. While he was on the computer, the secretary had seen him on the computer and was like, what the fuck? Went and told somebody. So they get his ass.
And they arrest him. They charge him.
And he's like, what the fuck? I just need to talk to McKittrick. Like, I just need to talk to McKittrick. I just need to tell him, like, Joshua's trying to, like,
Yeah.
do some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And
there's a little Easter egg in there. I don't know if you noticed this, but Matthew Broderick thinks what's the scientist's name?
McKittrick?
No, the scientist. McKendrick is Dabney Coleman.
Yeah.
The scientist is Falcon. So he's like,
oh, okay, yes.
So
yes.
he's under the assumption that Falcon is still dead. This is right before Dabney Coleman brings him to his office. So right before this whole scene plays out, and he mentions Falcon to Dabney Coleman, to McKendrick, and he's like, he must have been a brilliant man. And McKendrick said, yeah, he is brilliant, but he's kind of a pain in the ass. And it's an Easter egg, or like foreshadowing to the fact that Falcon's not actually dead, and McKendrick knows that because of the way he says it.
The way he says he's kind of an asshole. He uses the
present tense.
Yeah, he didn't say he was an asshole.
Yeah, he says he is, like, he's stubborn. And it's like intentional. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Because he knows he's alive. So when Matthew Broderick finds out on the computer what the address is, he's like, oh, Falcon's still alive, because he remembers the way McKendrick refers to him as being still present.
Yeah.
In the present tense. And then he's like, I need to talk
I didn't
to
catch that, actually.
I didn't catch it either. Caught it when I was doing trivia on the movie. And it's actually literally a trivia, like it's like written out because a lot of people miss it, because it's like a really subtle, like,
yeah,
oh,
for
that's
sure.
how he figured out he's alive.
Yeah, multiple watchings.
Yeah, it's a multiple watcher notice.
For sure. But so he gets, David gets taken to a holding cell that he's been in before with this guard that is straight up out of a Wes Anderson film, just from his garb.
For a moment, and then he turns into the current political cabinet. Like,
but he totally looks like, we were saying, like, just from the whole Wes Anderson thing, we were like, Jason Schwartzman,
he
like,
definitely looks like he's got that mustache.
No, it's totally Casey Affleck. It's Casey Affleck all the way. If you fucking look at him again.
Casey Affleck's not. Well, he does look like Casey Affleck.
No, he looks like Casey Affleck.
But he's acting like Jason
so
Schwartzman.
hard, but he's just acting like a creepy sweetie.
Yeah.
To the secretary.
That whole conversation is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's problematic in today's culture, but
Yes.
it's hilarious. Like,
Yeah, for
oh, am I
sure.
bothering you?
I think-
yes. He's
Do you want me to leave?
Do you want me to leave?
Yes.
Yes. Do you want me to get my hands off your shoulders? Yes. But like they're depicting it as like she doesn't really want him to, but she definitely
I don't think
does.
so. I think they're absolutely
Like,
depicting it like she
definitely
I
does.
think it starts
It's like they're flirting.
cute,
Yeah.
but then immediately she's like, "Get the fuck away from
'Cause
me!"
He's being
Like,
creepy.
yeah, for sure.
He's being really creepy.
And I like, that's another thing. Like, it's not like he's charming, but it's a charming part of the film. Like, just like, because it's not really, it's not part of anything. It's just there. Like, I love it.
Only part of it in the sense that it's how Broderick is able to escape. They're sneak past him because he's like flirting with the secretary.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
very true. So I had actually, I was like, while he was escaping, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, this guy goes through so much. Like he's getting on computers when people are gone. He's like fucking doing shit. His escape is fucking crazy.
It solidifies his suspicion as being like a spy, because he's doing shit that only spies would do. He's like hacking into keypads.
But it's crazy,
and,
like
being
his brain can't stop. Like, he's just constantly moving, which
Yeah.
just gives him more, like, it gives him
so much agency.
Yeah.
He just has so much agency in this world.
and it just tells you what kind of fucking character he is. Like,
He just gets shit done.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So he's looking through all the drawers. Like, he's like almost in like, it's almost like it wasn't supposed to be a holding cell. It's just supposed to be like a medical checkup room. And he's looking through all these drawers, and most of them are locked except for one on top. And he figures out he can take the whole drawer out and then see what's in the drawer under it. And so he looks in the drawer under it, and he finds a tape recorder and like
some kind of microphone.
Yeah, it's like a tape recorder with microphone, and then like medical forceps as well.
Yeah.
And then he like hooks it up to the little keypad at the door, and he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And the guy comes in and he's like, I can't remember what he says. He says something like that. Do you really have to go to the bathroom? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. But like when the guy put in the key code, he like recorded it. so that he can just play it back into the system.
And it gives it the right like sounds, and it interprets it as the keys being pressed.
Yeah, and
then
the door
door's
just
open.
opens.
It's like how he hacks the door open.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's fucking great. I love it so
I don't know
much.
if it's realistic or not. But it's awesome.
Yeah, I have no idea. Who fucking knows?
I don't. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all.
I like that they showed you the process of it.
Yeah,
it's like
just step by step.
Yeah.
Like they show you like the materials that he like
it's
found.
Like the counterfeiting scene in To Live and Die in L.A. where you're like, I don't know if that's real or not, but it's awesome. And then you find out that it's real, and you're like, that's even more awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's kind of like that where you're like, I don't know if that's real or not, but that was awesome.
Yeah. Like even if it's not, I'm still fucking sold.
Yeah, even if it's not, I'm still sold.
It's totally awesome. So he gets out of there and like locks the door behind him as well. And then like gets in the most like fucking spy place ever. He gets in like the utility shaft of the entire building and is like crawling around and stuff. Goes back to the war room, which I thought was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He like gets out and immediately some guy grabs him because there was like a field trip going on.
He gets out to join the group.
And and they're like, what are you doing? Get back in the group.
Yeah.
He's like, sorry.
And then when he goes to get on the buses because they're all leaving, he looks at the guard as he's getting on the bus and he goes, see you later.
Oh yeah. He's like so cordial.
Yeah, he's like, bye.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Oh my God. But then now he's out.
Yeah.
He's out. He's like hot wiring telephones, shorting out telephones so he can make calls and shit.
Yeah.
And
that whole scene was awesome too when he like he breaks into the payphone and like unscrews the thing. I don't like unscrews the receiver or the sending end of the telephone and like shocks it till he gets a dial tone. And like, I don't know, that was awesome.
It was awesome.
Is that how you break into a fucking payphone? Like, I'm gonna try that, but we don't have payphones anymore. It's 2018.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed pretty legit. Like I don't.
Yeah, he like goes and looks for.
Who knows what that's actually like, if that's real? But I bet you could look it up and find out real quick, especially now.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, definitely now.
Yeah. But
well, he calls Ally Sheedy and he asks her to get a plane ticket so he can get to Falcon's address. And then, so that's what he does. He calls her and then she's like, what the hell's going on? And he's like, just do it. And then he goes to the airport or whatever, and she's left a plane ticket and he flies up to I think it's to Seattle or something. And then she's there and she's like gone up to meet him. And he's like, what the fuck?
It's in Oregon.
Here? Is it? Yeah, it's in Oregon.
Because they're from Seattle.
He goes to Oregon. And so he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And she's like, you asked me to buy a plane ticket and it's only like 3-hour drive from where we live. So like, why wouldn't I come?
Yeah.
And he's like, we're in danger and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what the fuck is going on?
Calm down. Everything's fine.
What are you doing?
And then they see a fucking pterodactyl.
Well, they do see a pterodactyl. Okay, so I want to talk about this. They get on the boat and they go to this island, right? They get on like a ferry, which was a whole thing on itself because they're late.
They're late. They're running.
They're late for the ferry, and then they're running, and the guy's like, "Whoa, let him go." They're like, "Oh, let him come," and he's like, they like run through the gate, and as they're closing it, and they literally have to jump onto the ship. And
yeah,
it's
like
no
they
one
could
does
just
that.
be running away from cops.
Yeah. Like they didn't have to show a ticket. They didn't have to wait in a line. They just jumped on a boat.
Yeah.
So
you got it. Go for it.
Let him come. Open the gate.
That's so funny.
It was funny. And then they get to this island, which I don't know why this ferry just dropped them off on some random dude's island.
That's true.
Like, I don't understand that. It was kind of weird. Maybe I zoned out. Maybe we missed this. Like,
I mean, it could just be an island. It's not his island. He just lives on it.
Yeah, but then they get off, and they're the only ones who get off.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they're walking around, and then there's the fucking pterodactyl flying. And we were like, is that a bird? And then I was like, that looks like a pterodactyl. And then they went.
And it literally looks like it's moving its head around and stuff.
Like
and you're like, what is this movie now? Like,
what am I
what is that?
watching?
Because it looks legit. Like, it looks... It's so strange.
It's very weird.
It throws you for such a loop.
What?
Oh my God, it's so hilarious. And then it just lands and like...
And then Falcon.
And then Falcon...
And he's like...
Stephen Falcon walks up.
Yeah, and he's like talking about, he's like, these guys used to fly around all over the earth, and not even that long ago too, And then they're like, what the fuck? We need your help.
Yeah,
the world's about to blow up, and he's like, oh, humans deserve it.
Yeah,
it's gonna
come
happen.
inside. Let me show you my dinosaur clips.
Yeah, which is a cool sequence because thematically, again, it's like a thematically strong sequence where it's like the professor who created the thing that can cause doomsday, and then has grown accustomed to the idea that like human beings aren't supposed to be here anymore, and we're supposed to become extinct like the dinosaurs, and it's part of evolution and all this stuff. And they're like, that's fucking stupid. But it's like an interesting philosophy. It's an actual, like, it's fatalism. So like it's like a fatalist like idea. Like it's interesting. That the professor would take that point of view, especially considering that it was originally going to be played by John Lennon.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then he got murdered, and then he's being played by someone who's definitely not.
But like,
John
was
Lennon.
it like they were trying to get John Lennon, or was like John Lennon like, I'll do it? Because I feel like John
Lennon said, I'll do it.
That's fucking crazy though.
And they wrote it for him.
Because like, how many movies was John Lennon in that he was playing?
A character?
None.
Not that I can think of. Exactly. He's playing, he's in Help, and he's in Yellow Submarine and stuff, but he's playing John Lennon in those movies.
Yeah. But like, I can see it though, like being like that fucking, like,
I mean, no,
he's playing like a fucking asshole.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, he's like, I've helped create the software or the technology that's going to destroy the earth, and I'm gonna let it just do its thing. I'm gonna let it happen.
Yeah, it's totally weird, and I like the whole time, like him just saying this, I'm just like, Falcon's fucking crazy. Falcon's down with the earth getting destroyed, and like I just think about him and his pterodactyl like having their own TV show. We were talking about it the other night.
Fatalist Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, exactly. Like the pterodactyl would be like the righteous one, being like, I don't know, and Falcon's like, God damn it! Like it's like, he tries to start World War III every episode.
He just can't do it. These kids keep foiling his plans. Him and his trusty pterodactyl.
I would love it so much.
That'd be a fucking
that needs to be like an Adult Swim short or something.
Totally. I mean, let's just make it for us. Like,
yeah, that's true. Just kidding, Adult Swim.
But so we're getting close to the end of this movie, and we're getting close to the end of this episode, so we should probably wrap this up soon. But like basically, they convince him to come back to, which is a whole weird sequence, and they're running from the helicopter.
Oh my God, the helicopter scene that goes on literally in real time.
Yeah, like, it's like way too long. Yeah,
yeah, that's so funny.
Like, that all happened. I thought I thought it wasn't Falcon. I thought it was like the government found them, and I was like, oh, the government came to pick them up, and then it's Falcon on his own private helicopter, and they fly off. So they're like, oh, we're gonna go rush to NORAD, and we're gonna save the day, and we've got Falcon with us. He can vouch for us. We're not Russian spies, and this isn't a simulation. I mean, this is a simulation. We don't need to nuke the Russians. We don't need to start World War III and blah, blah, blah. They bring him to the facility, and then you get that great Jeep accident, which is real.
Yeah, which you can tell is real.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're literally just watching it like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, oh shit.
Yeah,
like, what the
they fucking crap.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Like, literally breaking through these fences, just like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen?
Straight through, and then they like flip over, and like that all actually happened. They actually flipped and was not planned, and they just kept it in the movie, and they restaged the scene where they just get out of the Jeep and they run through the tunnel into NORAD, which is awesomely, it's the tunnel from Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the end of Back to the Future Part 2.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Who framed.
But yeah, so they get in there, super easy.
So they just run straight in. They run straight into the war room. They don't have to go through a security checkpoint or anything.
Yeah,
well, they drove through it all, I guess.
yeah, for sure.
But they get in there, and it's like right at the last second, and the general's about to like send the nukes off, and then they finally convince him not to. They get Falcon to convince him not to, and they think they saved the day, and they're trying
to figure out like a way to like turn it off, and the general, which is fucking hilarious. Most of his stuff was improv. You said
was all ad-lib.
Yeah. It's all ad lib.
ad-lib.
The general is like this fucking southern country bumpkin motherfucker.
He's awesome.
And he goes, "I'd piss on a spark plug if it helped." Like there's some shit.
I'd piss on a spark plug if it helped.
Yeah. You're just like, shut the fuck up, leave the room,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here. There's
so-
adults talking here. We're trying to figure out how to stop the end of the world.
It's so funny. And, the actor's name is Barry Corbin, and you might recognize him from No Country for Old Men. He's the guy in the wheelchair. Yeah, he has a couple other great lines in that.
Yeah, he's got some good ones for sure. That one
that's the best one.
It
Yeah.
was just like,
I'd piss on a spark plug if it helped.
you're like, dude,
How did you become a general?
dude, no,
Yeah. Just don't do that.
it would not help.
No, and that might kill you. That might actually kill you.
Yeah, in this room, for sure.
Yeah. So they finally they get him to not send the missiles, and he's super relieved because he obviously doesn't want to start World War III because he's a good fucking general. And then they think they're like relieved, and they think it's all over. And then the computer's like, "I'm going to send the missiles anyways because that's the only way to win the game." And they start freaking out because he's starting to guess the codes, and then they teach it.
Well, he's like, "What is the point of this?" And the computer's like, "To win."
Yeah.
And so like that sparks the idea that they're like, well, like tic-tac-toe.
Well, Falcon gives that speech earlier on, and it's the fatalist speech. It's like, why'd you stop playing tic-tac-toe? He's talking to Ally Sheedy, and she's like, I don't know, it's boring. No one ever wins. And he's like, exactly. That's what this is. No one ever wins. And then Matthew Broderick gets the idea, and he's like, oh, it's in this. They start trying all the games, though. They get him to play chess. They try to get him to play checkers, and none of it's working. It's like throwing them off, like it's like locking them out of the system, and no one can log in. And then he's finally like tic-tac-toe, and then it starts playing tic-tac-toe.
It's playing every version of
It
tic-tac-toe
goes through every iteration,
that it can
permutation,
play.
and it never wins.
So that's how they get the idea through that to play every iteration of pretty much war.
They teach it that there are games that you can't win, and then they have it play through the Global Thermonuclear War as a quick simulation of like the outcomes.
Yeah.
As it's about to send the nuclear war,
Which is an amazing sequence when it's just
really
flashing.
cool. Well, and
it's so awesome.
those are practical effects, and they're fucking awesome, and it's all like projected onto these huge screens.
Yeah.
There's over 50,000 feet of film they created for all that stuff.
And that entire room is more expensive and more technological than the actual
NORAD room.
The actual room that is literally used for that.
I have a quote from the director, John Badham, who said that the NORAD command center, which was the most expensive set of all time at the time that this was filmed, which was $1 million, was essentially, he said it was the NORAD's wet dream of itself.
Yeah.
That's what he called it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which is
That's so
hilarious.
awesome.
Yeah.
It looks fucking great.
What's crazy about
So
the
awesome.
computer graphics too is computer graphics weren't in color ever at that time period. So like it's like all these colorful graphics on the screen and screens and stuff. And what they had to do was like basically create all the graphics they were going to use on a computer, and then they had to take still photographs of them in monochrome, and they had to shoot them through color filters, like the still photographs, and they basically had to take a picture of each graphic with each like RGB color, and then they overlaid those colors in the projections, so they would be these really colorful graphics. So there's all these blues and reds and greens and stuff in them instead of being black and white, and that's how they got it to all look like that. And it looks fan-fucking-tastic.
It looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, but it is so much work they put so much fucking work they put into getting it to look that way, and like they didn't have. I mean, color monitors weren't a thing, so they literally had to project onto like screens, like clear screens and stuff, so the actors could see the screens as well.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like you don't see movies these days that put that much effort into a practical effect like that at all.
No.
Like, now they're just like, we'll CGI it, and it's like, well, it looks so much better if you don't.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
looks so much better if
I
you
just don't understand why people don't like think, like, I don't know, just you have so much money, like use it to like make something really cool and like
cool,
artistic instead of just being like post. Like
A lot of times they'll just do a post, and then they'll spend the money on getting like a big name actor.
Yeah.
And it's like
or just fucking pumping out trailers.
Yeah, marketing. You know,
Yeah.
like we need to market the shit out of this. So like all the budget's going to go to the marketing, not the film. It's like put all the money into the film, and if it's good, people will know. People will go see it eventually. Eventually. I get it. It's a fucking business. You got to make money in a certain amount of time. Like you got investors.
Yeah.
It's like it's.
But please make a good product. We like movies, and
Yeah, we love them. And like, I'm sick of this goddamn Last Jedi bullshit.
you didn't you didn't make it very far.
Made it 15 minutes.
He tried to watch Last Jedi.
I couldn't do it, guys. Maybe I'll get through it by the next time you hear from us.
He stopped watching it, so that's a million points right there. So he's back at 0.
Yeah, that's me. I feel like when I talk about Star Wars and how much I really dislike it, I feel like the general when he goes to sniff his cigar.
Okay, I'm so happy you thought of it. I was like, it's past that. We're not gonna bring it up.
I love it. He's like the way he runs it under his nose, and it's like that long ass cigar, and he's smirking at Dabney Coleman
such
because
a pig.
His points being proven by all these mistakes that are happening in the computer system.
Yeah,
and he's just like, that's how I feel kind of when I'm discussing Star Wars with people, because I'm just like, those movies are fucking garbage. Let me tell you why.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah. It's really easy to tell you why.
Super easy.
But anyway, so it runs through all this, and it pretty much finds out that it can't win.
Yeah, and it determines that it's an unwinnable game, and then why even play.
And then the end quote of the movie, which really wraps everything up, is pretty much when the computer is like, strange game. The only way to win is not to play. And you're like, damn,
this really came full circle with this philosophical
pretty
theme.
Fucking great.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's fantastic.
And it's got a happy ending. And the original ending was Matthew Broderick becoming the assistant to McKendrick. Just like McKendrick became was an assistant to Falcons.
Yeah.
So that's how it originally ended, but they ended it with just the war room, everybody celebrating. That's really the end of the movie.
Yeah, we didn't need that.
I didn't need that. It's as a trivia piece. It's like, oh, okay, that's where it would have gone.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's nice to know, but I don't need to see it in the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, but so that's WarGames, guys.
That's WarGames.
So fucking
we hashed that one out.
That was
if you never saw that movie, it's
got a pretty good idea.
Yeah. But that movie's so awesome. I absolutely recommend it.
I do too. I'd highly recommend it.
I totally want to watch it again.
I'm definitely going to watch it again over the next few months, and probably the next several years of my life. I'll probably
for sure. That's a movie that you I'm
going to show people.
You're just hanging out, and you're like, you ever seen WarGames?
Yeah, you guys want to watch WarGames?
Yeah, it's you can show it to anyone. It's super good.
Yeah, it's really watchable. And we didn't mention this earlier, but this is directed by John Badham. Badham, I think is how you Badham, or I don't know. But he directed Point of No Return, which we've done as an episode already, which I'm sure if you are longtime listeners of the show or even recent ones, you'll probably have found it. So I want to say that this movie is super watchable and awesome and great. And Point of No Return is none of those things and all of those things at the same time.
It's so watchable. It's just not for the quality reasons. Yeah, it's it gets so fucking. Well, we already talked about it. We don't need to talk about it again. But Jesus Christ,
what we think about Point of No Return, but I think it's crazy to me that 10 years after he made WarGames, he was making Point of No Return, and the quality is so vastly different that one's a great movie because it's a great movie, and one's a great movie because it's such a bad movie.
Mm-hmm. It happens, man.
Well,
people make great
now he's
music
directing Supernatural and shit. So it's obviously this guy's career starts
God,
at the
is
top
he really?
And the bottom. I mean, this is the guy who did Saturday Night Fever, and now he's directing episodes of Supernatural.
Jesus Christ.
So I don't know what happened. I think honestly, dude, I think we're gonna have to watch more of this guy's stuff. I think John Badham is gonna turn out to be one of our go-to guys in this.
Yep.
Because
we got another baddie.
Yeah, we're gonna say the baddie episodes, baby. We might have to do a deep dive on this guy one day.
Oh my God.
We're gonna have some great directors on those deep dives, and then John Badham Because we keep coming back to his movies for some reason. We keep fucking finding them.
Yeah. That's crazy. But anyway, super great film. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate all the listening and the support, and we hope you guys are liking what we're doing. We're gonna keep we're continuing to iron some shit out and like add some new stuff and try and really bring you guys some like new programming, some really well researched stuff soon, and
so a little more quality.
Yeah,
a little more quality.
We're trying to push ourselves forward a little bit for you guys, so you have some something more to listen to than us just being fucked up and like stumbling through these movies. So if you like what you hear, let us know. If you don't like what you hear, keep it to yourself, because we really don't care. I'm just kidding, but
yeah, little bit of criticism. We'll take it, but calm down. Okay, calm down. All right. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys. Fuck you.